Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Appreciate it. As always, hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. We're hitting CC Sundays number 2. We got through the opening episode before Caitlin Clark decided, you know what? I am so done with this trash league. I'm faking me an injury. I'm going to see what the league does without me. Maybe they'll make some positive changes. Maybe they'll stop investigating my fans. Maybe they'll actually start calling fouls so I can play basketball. Maybe my coach will wake up and realize trying to change me into the Connecticut Sun is not the best idea if you actually want to win basketball games. So we have a lot to talk about. Let's get to it. Okay. So quick thoughts. All right, quick thoughts on the season so far. I was going to say not what I expected, but it's more not what I hoped. I had reservations, shall we say. I think you all know that. I was never on board with Stephanie White from day one. Not that I was like, oh, this is awful. It's never going to work. I just had questions based on her coaching record and the things she said. And I think we're starting to see some of that. So, I mean, this team can't win. Okay. It's still a question mark. But, you know, I hoped that she would realize what she had with Caitlin Clark and run. I hoped Bonner and Howard had another really productive season in them. And again, they might, but we're not seeing it right now. I wanted to see the actions from Stephanie White instead of just the words. I think she could probably get any coaching job she wants because she talks the game of a great coach most of the time. I think we're starting to see some things that are exposed in what she says. But anyway, we'll get into that. And I know it's early, okay? I get it. I'm not panicking. I'm just giving you my thoughts on what we're seeing now, especially with Caitlin Clark out. But some of the things you say now, I think they are red flags. I think the idea of what this offense of this team is supposed to be when Clark is playing, I don't think that's what she's trying to make it. I really don't think she was serious when she kept talking about the way Caitlin plays and how we need to play up tempo and how we need to play with pace because we're not seeing it. We didn't see it all that much with Clark. The only pace we saw in the Connecticut Sun game was when they got down 15 in the fourth quarter and the game plan goes out the window. And of course, you push the pace and you try and get quick shots because you've got a lot of work to do. Um, the offense, even with Caitlin Clark, I will say, but obviously more so without her. In the offense, so it looks like we're trying to run, does not play to Kelsey Mitchell's strengths. Uh, I go back and forth. I kind of feel bad for Kelsey Mitchell, the criticism she's getting because she's reverting to this is what a great scorer like Kelsey Mitchell is usually going to do on a bad team when you don't have a lot of options. And with the offense they're running, even with Clark, it really looks she's done a number on the Splash Sisters, and then you remove Clark and you put the ball in Kelsey Mitchell's hands with this no offense. And yeah, her go-to is she's got to try and make things happen because otherwise nothing is happening. So the offense definitely doesn't play to Kelsey Mitchell's strengths. Aaliyah Boston is absolutely balling out, balling out. But the offense that they're trying to run, again, at least without Caitlin Clark, is ignoring her. She is 12 of 15 in the 2 games without Clark. I think 4 of 5 and 8 of 10. But that's not a lot of shots. Even with those 2 games, which is what, a third of the schedule they've played so far, she is having career highs in field goal percentage, effective field goal percentage, points, rebounds, assists, even 3-point percentage, although obviously that's very, very limited. And of course personal fouls. But Aaliyah Boston has and blocks as well. She's got like career high averages across the board to start this season. She has started the season incredibly well. I have nothing but praise for Aaliyah Boston, especially after she said, no, Angel Reese, you're going after Caitlin Clark. So, I mean, she is I shouldn't say, her and Lexi Hall are really the bright spots. Sophie never really got a chance. We saw what she could do in the preseason. Then she got too much with the ball handling responsibility, which isn't her game. I mean, I think she was the best option, but it takes away from what she does well. And then, of course, the injuries. So she's never really gotten going. But Lexi Hall and Aaliyah Boston, who are already here, are the bright spots so far. Um, and look, while this roster without Caitlin Clark, should be above 500. Okay, on paper, this is now. It's not going to be pretty because I was on. This is a it's a WNBA team without Caitlin Clark, but on paper, it's still relative to the rest of the league a talented WNBA team. So it should be playing above 500, and it is playing far from that. And it looks like these players have no idea what they're supposed to be doing. They're playing at best, like a mid-tier team. Certainly not a contender. You can't lose to the 0-5 Connecticut Sun. You cannot. The offense, what we can see of it, I mean, it really, speaking of the Connecticut Sun, it seems to be like the old bad Connecticut Sun offense. You know, last year, the Connecticut Sun were, I forget how bad, but really, really, I shouldn't say bad. They shot very few threes. And now we've got the Indiana Fever shooting very few threes, all the way down at 10th in the league. I think they were maybe fifth last year. They averaged like a little over 26 a game. Now they're down at 20.3, a whopping point 0.3 against the 11th Connecticut Sun, and then the Mystics and the Storm below them. So they're not shooting threes, which Damiris Dantas, Lexi Hull, Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell. I mean, and again, even Dewana Bonner and Natasha Howard are serviceable 3-point shooters, and Aaliyah Boston shoots it well enough to shoot it here and there, and Sophie Cunningham as well. This is a team of 3-point shooters, and they're not shooting 3-point shots. Absolutely wild. And they're not shooting it great right now, 33.6%, but that's good enough. That is good enough because again, if we go back to this effective field goal percentage, they're still fourth in the league at 50.5%. They led the league last year, so it's down a little bit. But yeah, I don't know what this offense is. Obviously, and I said this at the beginning, I know some people got mad, but signing Colson and Turner just didn't make any sense. Colson is not a backup point guard. Yes, she can defend. She's not a good ball handler. She's not a good passer, and she's not a good shooter. So how is that going to run your offense? Turner is supposedly a really good defender. We could use some defending inside. Hello, Michaela Timpson. And yet Turner can't seem to get off the bench. Damiris Dantas is a stretch four having to defend in the post because she's basically being the backup to Aaliyah Boston because they don't have a real backup center. And I love Damiris Dantas, but her game is going to struggle a little bit when you're asking her to do things that she really doesn't do well, doesn't excel at. I mean, was the offense truly discussed in the interview process? Does the front office know we were going to get the Connecticut Sun offense? Was sidelining Caitlin Clark with all this off the ball stuff and this slower tempo so Howard and Bonner can keep up? Was that discussed in the hiring process? Oh my goodness. So now we got Sydney Colson out with an injury. We got Sophie Cunningham out with an injury. Caitlin Clark, obviously. They only have 11 players on the roster. We may see another player, right? There's hardship contracts that are allowed for certain things. Plus, we should be getting close to where there's enough cap money freed up with games played that they could sign another player because they're down to 8. And it's basically, I guess, Lexi and Kelsey at point guard duties. I don't know who else would do it. But even before Sophie got hurt, before Sophie, Lexi, and Kelsey, all better players off the ball. So this team went into the season truly. I know we all think it was Sydney Colson, but they really went into the team with no backup point guard and no backup center. Amazing. All off season, they did not address the backup point guard position because again, Colson is not it. The Fever have one playmaker, one primary ball handler on their roster. That is Caitlin Clark. That's it. That is literally it. I get it. A lot of people aren't sold on Grace Berger, who I keep bringing up. But Grace Berger, if you watched her college career, if you watched her rookie year for the Fever when she got 15 minutes a game, she is a smart, athletic, fundamentally sound point guard who could easily give Caitlin Clark 10 minutes of rest per game and absolutely not hurt the team. She could run the offense. I don't know why this is so difficult. I mean, look, we can't even run the pick and roll. Remember that video I did on Clark and Boston, which was all in one game? We can't even run the pick and roll without Caitlin Clark. That's crazy. I mean, and it really doesn't matter because if we try it, defenses are switching on everything because they're giving the Fever no space because nothing can be exploited without Caitlin Clark on the court. They're not going to get picked apart by the passes. Because truth is, AB's the best passer on the court without Caitlin Clark. And while we're seeing glimpses here and there, I mean, I think she led the team in assists last game with 8, but she's not. I don't think she's really being utilized effectively. And by making her the facilitator, you're taking away a lot of the other things that she does well. So you limit a lot of things in the entire offense when your center is your best passer, right? You got no pick and roll. You don't really have the fast break. Um, I don't understand, especially with the way the team is struggling, why we have not seen Michaela Timpson come off the bench. Is she going to be a star? I have no idea. Is she going to produce right away as a rookie? No idea. Oh, let's find out. They're losing anyway. We need someone who can play some interior defense, maybe take a little pressure off of Boston. So, with that crazy whistle she has, maybe we can limit the amount of fouls that Aaliyah Boston gets. Maybe we can get out on the break if that's even allowed. Because the non-existent break that Stephanie White has completely neutered. I mean, I don't get it. And Turner, what is the thing Turner was supposed to bring? Just like um, Sydney Colson was supposed to bring, right? Defense. He's an interior defender, supposedly a really good interior defender, but she can't get off the bench. Where is this depth? We're seeing and this offense, we're seeing a whole bunch of dribbles, a whole bunch of handoffs, and really nothing that puts the defense, well, you know, actually on the defensive. It's a whole lot of moving and going nowhere. It's a whole lot of moving and not opening up an offense, not opening up players for options. Here's a question for you because we haven't seen it yet. Can Bonner and Howard run? Is Bonner scoring some points now because it's quicksand offense? Because that's not going to work when Caitlin Clark comes back. Because you're going to take away what the Fever do best so Bonner can get some points. That doesn't make any sense. That is not going to get you success. When Clark is back, unless we want a 500 team and a first round exit, you've got to play more up tempo with this team. And unfortunately now, no, there's not a player on this team that has the handles that can take their player off the dribble. Kelsey Mitchell to a degree, but in the way she's doing it, that's not within an offense, it's not happening. So we don't have that dribble drive penetration. We don't have that kick out to someone like Lexi Hull in the corner. And we've got a lot of 3-point shooters, but we're not shooting the threes. No drop off passes to Aaliyah Boston. Like I said, it's down to Kelsey and Lexi to be handling the ball now, barring any roster addition that they might be able to make. And Kelsey Mitchell just isn't really a good passer. She gets a lot of passes deflected, which I mean, she is only what 5'8". I don't think she's great understanding the passing angles and what they have. In fact, let's see if I have it. I think this is KM, right? And here we go down at the end of the second. We want to get a shot off. And yeah, watch this. Oh, like what? And now we've got to kind of like let's just chuck that up. What is that? And by the way, that's a great example too of I mean, this is a terrible attempt with a screen. I mean, there's like nothing there. And that's on Kelsey Mitchell too, because she didn't take her defender first the other way and then come tight off the screen where you actually rub off the screen and give no space. No. They just gave it was like there's no point in even putting that pick there. So, it's a struggle, folks. As it's a struggle. The defense, as much as we hear about how that's Stephanie White's thing, just like we heard about Christy Sides, is seeing a whole lot of problems with a lack of fundamentals on the defensive end. And as good as Kelsey Mitchell can be, and I've said it repeatedly, her play style, she needs Caitlin Clark out there playing Caitlin Clark basketball for both Caitlin and Kelsey to flourish, which wasn't really allowed that often when Caitlin was out there, but it's obviously that much worse now with Caitlin out there. I mean, she was getting, I don't know, three, four, five, wide open layups in the fast break game. She's getting, a handful of wide open 3-point looks, maybe a few backdoor plays as well. None of that is there anymore. That's because Caitlin Clark makes everyone better, and good players like Kelsey Mitchell, they get to take a lot more practice like shots. So yeah, their shooting percentages go up, right? White constantly talking about Kelsey Mitchell for her most efficient season last season. Yes, she did. Because one, she's really talented. And then she teamed up with Caitlin Clark. And that is why Stephanie White. But you are trying to change how Caitlin Clark is running the offense. And you're not, and that's not allowing Kelsey Mitchell to get those looks that made her that efficient. Fever must run. We've got to see their effectiveness and pace. Excuse me. I'm running out of voice. Mm. Okay, excuse me. Let me reset. Oh my. All right. So we need to see their effectiveness. We need to see their pace of play offensively. Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, you guys are gonna like we had last season. You know, after it was basically Christy Size after the break was like, you know what? Do your thing, Caitlin. I think Caitlin started that a little bit before because she was like, nah, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this anymore. It doesn't look good. I'm playing my game. Yeah, we needed to see that last year. Again, best shooting team in the league, top scorer, one of third, I think third last year in scoring. And think of how they started, which, by the way, to the point also means, yeah, this can all completely turn around, but changes have to be made, right? Last year, the turnaround won the schedule. We all know about the schedule to start. And yes, players getting used to Clark and this and that, and everyone talks about the break and the rest. All good things. But we also saw a complete change in how the offense played. It became the Caitlin Clark run the show offense, which it was not early on. And that made all the difference. And that's what's going to have to happen here. And we'll see how long Caitlin Clark is out, too, and how long it takes for her to be Caitlin Clark again as well. So, but if they do that, if they decide, because look, then they don't have to be great defensively. I think there's been way too much talk about the defense, the defense, the defense. All they need is a solid defense. An average defense with their offense is a winning formula. But don't be so focused on making the defense great that you take away everything the offense does. They just need to be marginally better defensively. I mean, they do that. They compete with anyone, and they can make a deep playoff run. Again, as long as Caitlin Clark's healthy. I mean, I'm looking more and more at this off season, and just like all of you, I wanted to be pumped up and happy. They got these players coming in. They're big names. I mean, DeWanna Bonner's third in the all-time scoring list in points, and I forget the rebound number, but she's something like the first player with 7,500 points and 3,500 rebounds ever, I think. Let me know in the comments below if that number might be a little off. It might be 3,000 rebounds, but it's somewhere around there. But if you bring them in and they can't run the offense the way it needs to be run for the team to win, that's a problem. I don't get. It just seems like they're decided to throw a bunch of old players out there with Caitlin Clark, take away what Caitlin Clark does best, and somehow that's going to be a winning formula. How many years? How many years has Steffi White watched Caitlin Clark? She watched her growing up, right? She should know everything there is about how Caitlin Clark plays and what makes her great. And yet, she still seems to have no idea what actually does make Caitlin Clark special or how best to utilize what makes Caitlin Clark special. That is seriously concerning to me because if you were really that, I mean, you're either that bad or there's something else going on. And I don't know which it is, but either one is not good. I don't understand how you can watch Caitlin Clark all these years and not understand. Kelly, Amber, Steph. Hey, Ben Daniel podcast. Is it still in Kelly we trust? I'm just asking for the 19. I'm asking Ben, Kelly, Amber, Steph. And hey, I hope they win a championship and you can come back and point this out. I have no problem with that. That's how we roll in Philly. Come on. Uh, but I don't know how any of them are watching the two games we just had without Caitlin Clark and keep talking about this quality of depth that this team has. This quality of depth. It's quality of depth. We've got what depth? Turner never gets off the bench. Colson wasn't get, I mean, she was playing what, 5, 6 minutes a game. She wasn't getting off the bench before the injury. Dantas wasn't playing much. Michaela Timpson's not getting off the bench. What is the depth? I mean, I know what you did. You overloaded on certain positions. I love bringing in Sophie Cunningham, but I also talked about on the video when we had the team together that we seem to have a lot of players play in a similar position in terms of what they do and their strengths. And we're no backup center, no backup point guard, but we've got Sophie and Lexi and Howard and Bonner who can all kind of play similar position. The Fever front office left the old Fever front office, no doubt, left the new regime with some bad contracts, right? We know that. Christy Wallace, Katie Lou Samuelson, we get that. It hurt. Big part of why they only have 11. But let's be fair. The new front office, seriously, and this is how it usually works, right? When you get vets, you're paying for past performance. It never works out, almost never works out. Talking about in the money you spend. I'm not saying they old vets don't come in and help and can't play well and all that. But in terms of money, right, just like free agents in any sport, a lot of times we have a player who's great and they come into free agency really kind of past what you would consider physical prime, but you're overpaying, but you overpay always. They overpaid for these vets. That also helped limit the roster to only 11 players. White repeatedly has said Caitlin has this is the most talent that she's ever been around. He talks about the quality of depth, as I mentioned. So if it's the most talent she's ever been around, why do they look awful without her? Why do they struggle with her? And why is she playing 38 minutes a game, playing more than she was playing last year? It doesn't go together, right? That's what I'm understanding that's the issue I'm having. I'm not trying to be critical and she can't coach, but I'm saying okay, this is what we're doing. This is what she's saying. They don't go together. They don't go together when you start analyzing instead of just nodding along with what she's saying. It's not making any sense. But no one is asking these questions. Certainly the journalists are not asking these questions. All right, I'm going to wrap this up in a minute. I promise. Look, anyway, for them to be competitive, just like last year, they unfortunately have to max out Caitlin Clark's minutes. It's just and her usage on the ball. Okay, that's just the way it is. That's the way the team's been built. It's no different than when Sides second half of last season just said, "Hey, Caitlin, go do your thing." This Fever coaching staff has got to step back and say, you know what? It's not us. It's not about our ego. We're not going to draw up these super duper offensive schemes and limit what Caitlin Clark does, yet somehow be incredibly successful. You've got to accept that. You don't have this quality of depth that you're talking about. This is not a super team, but it is a team that can contend. Please don't misunderstand. I'm not throwing away the season. I'm talking about what I've seen and what needs to change. Because look, forget everything else. Does Stephanie White have you convinced on the quality of depth thing? Just on that. I mean, this is a team that was 2 for 2 with Caitlin Clark playing 38 minutes a game, right? Remember versus the Liberty, as I said, they lost that game. Yes, Caitlin Clark played 38 minutes. She only sat for 2 minutes. In the 38 minutes she played, they were +6. That should be more than enough, folks. But in the two tiny minutes, the 120 ticks of the clock that she sat, they were -8. This team is still all about how Caitlin Clark goes, so go the Fever. So is Stephanie White really it long term? Is it going to factor in? We're wasting year 2 now. That's going to be half of Caitlin Clark's rookie contract. Will Caitlin Clark be an Indiana Fever when her rookie contract is up? Is she looking at this thinking, you know what? I'm not sure this is it. We've completely changed the front office, we've changed the coaching, we've changed the roster, and it's a mess. I do not understand why Michaela Timpson is on the bench. You lost to the 0-5 Sun in embarrassing fashion. Get her on the court. Should Mitchell even be playing? A lot of people are saying, oh, it's the finger, but you know what? She shot lights out beginning of the season. She shot great against Brazil in preseason. She shot great in the first again against the Sky. I think she was 4 of 6 from three, and that was with the bad finger. And so maybe, yeah, maybe it has gotten a lot worse from playing. Maybe it got hit again. Who knows? But if it's the finger, you, I know it's crazy with all the injuries, but you got to get her out and get it fixed because she can't hit anything. I mean, she's shooting like something like 28%. And it's not even the losing without Caitlin Clark. It's the way they're losing. There just doesn't seem to be any direction. There's no flow. There's no leadership. From some, there's a lack of hustle as well, and it's really frustrating to watch. Again, Caitlin Clark, clearly the most valuable player in the league, as she was last year as well. I am going to leave it there. I was going to dig into the next opponent being a rematch with the Mystics, but this is getting long already. I had a lot of stuff to say. I didn't even go to vids. I do. Okay, you know what? There is one. I do want to show this at the end. Let me show this. This is actually Portnoy making a good point about. I don't know if y'all caught it, but we at the end of the game we lost like 45 seconds of game time while they were still showing commercials. Again, WNBA is professional in no way at all, even regardless of all the Caitlin Clark drama. But what I want to point out is how terrible this is. They're down one with 126 left. Marina Mayberry, who's been lighting them up, right? That's who they're going to go to. And look at this deep. This is so easy. Watch this. Now she's going to come up. They just hand her the ball. I mean, what is that? And bucket and bucket. Like that's crazy. So we look at this again. I think what you've got. Okay, so we've got who's coming up there? Lex. Yeah. Okay. So she goes by like with a little bit of a pick. So Marina's got the step on her, which isn't bad. But now we've got Howard, and like that is you can't have that. It looks to me, and I don't know. I'm guessing for when I see either Lexi got really badly beat, or because of that pick, she's expecting help. But here's the thing: if Howard's the one with the help, this is Marina Mayberry. Yeah, I realize that she's quicker and you're probably in trouble if she drives by you, but you can't lay off of her. You can't back up like that and let her shoot a foul line extended jump shot because that basically did it. I mean, that made it a 3-point game and yeah, I was basically all over from there. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Appreciate you checking out this video as always. Thank you so much for your support. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. You know the drill, and I will talk to you later.